Today I wanted to cover some of the best tactics from the ongoing World Cup,
But
which probably people have been following.
perfect. No, so the World Cup. There's a lot of games, so I
Yeah,
cannot
yeah.
I cannot appreciate
That's
all of them. And this is perfect to catch up a little bit. Wonderful. Let's go for
yeah.
it.
To me, it's one of the most exciting tournaments because of its format,
Mhm.
and there are many very close matches too. So I picked some of my favorite tactics that I saw from the game, so that you and the viewers can just do some training together and try to solve them.
Perfect.
So the first position is from the women's section. Um, and they got to a very crazy
Yeah,
position like this where both sides are having an attack.
this looks
um
mega wild.
exactly, and I find that women's games are always so much more wild for some reason. There's just always something going on.
Uh-huh.
So here black attacked the queen with d3. So how do you think white should react to it? Try to solve it as a tactic,
Hmm.
because I obviously picked this moment for a reason. So white to play, um try to figure it out.
All right. Also, for you at home, if you want to think about it for yourself and you haven't watched this game yet, just pause the video and think about it. It's fun and it's good for the brain and for your chess knowledge. So, let me speak out loud what I am thinking. So, of course, if we could ever get this bloody rook on b8 to a different space, we could checkmate the king. Also, if we could get the white queen to the g file, or yeah, we could also checkmate the king. But for
Mhm.
now, we are also about to get checkmated in a short moment. So how do we do this the most clever way? So I have one thing which I have to calculate, and maybe you've seen it at home as well. What about the bishop going to h6? Because there's no direct mate threat. I think the queen can give a check, but we can just swap and we won't be checkmated. I'm pretty sure about this, but I would have to maybe
Mhm.
calculate. So let's just think that black takes the queen, because then they can checkmate in a couple of more moves. Now we would give a check. The king would
Mhm.
go to g8. And I mean, in the very worst case, I guess we just have a draw, which is
Right.
fine. But probably we have more. But how can we get more out of this? So yeah, it's going. Oh yeah. So is it like? Oh, it is. No, is it? No, it's not. So if we go with the bishop to f8 and give another check, the king has to take because now we're having a threat.
Right.
And then we give. Oh, it's checkmate.
Exactly. You got it.
I just thought like, well, the king goes out, but of course the king cannot
Yeah.
go out.
Yeah, yeah. It is a really cute tactic, and this is
Wow.
actually what happened in the game. So
Oh my
bishop h6 was the
goodness.
only move. So whoever found it, it's it's a really nice move.
I feel like a
And
grandmaster.
there is nothing there was nothing else really for white to do.
Yeah.
Because if you just move the queen away, then there's then it's black that's starting to have the mate threats, and they can come up with um
So
even
many different
knight
mate threats.
joining.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different ones, or just the pawn and b2 um might get taken. So bishop h6 was actually the only way to play it, and bishop f8 I find is a unique idea that you could have gone for a draw too, but this of course just makes a checkmate in
Makes
two
more
moves.
sense. Yes.
So
Very
you got
nice.
it. That's good. Are
All
you ready
right.
for the next one?
Let's go. I am ready.
Okay, so this is gonna be the next one. This game has been very popular online because
Oh.
of its really impressive tactic from White, and because the guy who played it is like 14 years old or something very young.
Ooh.
So it has been a very popular game. At least I've seen it quite a
Oh.
few times online, and it is a very, very typical sacrifice, which is why I thought it would be a good idea for us to solve it and to reinforce this type of sacrifice again.
Yes,
But
Eddie Skurel. I think even ChessBase wrote a tiny article about him, one of the two wonder kids in this World Cup. And I just
right.
read the title, so that is probably the reason, as you mentioned. And there's another girl who from Argentina, and I forgot her name, but she's also she's playing a very good tournament. Now, nonetheless, of course, I guess we have to take on H7. There's just no other way. It has to work, basically.
Yeah, for sure.
Just how?
So bishop to H7, that's definitely the top thing that we have to look at. But it gets I think the impressive part is to see it until the end from this very start. So what would you do now here?
Well, it looked to me as if the only move yeah, so we will have one silent move at one point, getting the knight to e4,
Right.
but not yet, I guess. I think first we give a check on h5 with the queen. The king has to
Exactly.
go back.
I was trying to trick you to gain back material with queen c2 and just take the bishop, but of course this is just gains back material and it's equal. So queen h5, we have to go for the kill.
For the throat. And I think now is the time, and this is interesting how black can defend this. So can we go to e4 with the knight?
Knight e4 works too. In the game, they just played it a move later, so it works too. But you're gonna have to kind of implement both of the moves. So if anybody found queen h6 first, that would be that's what happened in the game. Just because this provokes g6 to be played, there's no other
defense
against it. And now knight e4 comes with even more force that we're attacking both of these squares, g5 and f6, to threaten checkmate. So you were right about the knight e4 idea. It's really, really strong here. And this, at least to me, is probably the hardest part of the puzzle. Maybe not even the hardest, but it's just the quiet move. Like you said, there's actually one more quiet move to be made, and there's only one way to play for a win here.
Oh, that's
or maybe like two ways to play for a win, but there's one of them that's just for sure the most convincing.
Oh, okay. So it popped to my head to sacrifice the rook, but then we also have just a draw, which is not something to strive for, I guess.
Yeah, so this will just end up being a draw, and there's nothing better to do than just keep repeating. You could take the bishop, but then you're down a rook and probably will have to go for the repetition anyways.
Yeah.
And actually, there has been like a similar position against some of the strong players played. It was probably last year. So still strong players played it in open. It wasn't the exact same position, but it was the exact same setup. And in that game, actually, the player with white just took and didn't find the move. But in this game, they did find it.
Yeah, so I'm not sure how it is for you at home, but I thought of one move immediately the whole time, and I think now I know why it might make sense. What about rook b1 to b3?
So that's one of the moves that like the engine is okay with. I think it still gives it.
Oh no, it's not
still
right.
gave it, but that's not it. That's not the
dang
solution. There's something that's even more forcing.
That is interesting. Oh, now I am So what could that be for you at home? What do you think? Have you found it already? Have you watched the game? So what is our goal? So wait, okay, checks we gave already. There's another check, and the queen just takes, and then black is safe. So if we take, and that doesn't help either. So what kind of threats can we make? If we just could get the rook to h3 somehow. If the rook goes to h3, the bishop just takes. We open the file on h3 and it takes far too long to get the other rook over there. Oh, yeah, it is the difficult part. Interesting that I cannot find it right now. Okay, I don't want to make this too long of an episode. So what is the solution?
No, of course not. That's not too long. So I'll show you two solutions that I think
Uh-huh.
probably both work. So there's one that's less convincing, and that's the one that's quite close to your idea that you mentioned. So you've been wanting to get the rook to the h file, and one way to do that is to play rook g5. So you're threatening to play rook h5 from here on. If they take, then you obviously take back with the knight and then checkmate next turn. But if they place anything else, then you play rook h5 and end up going knight to f6. So from here on, it's either just the black king has nowhere to go, and after the capture, there's unavoidable checkmate on g7 unless you give up the queen. So
That's
this
so
is one of the solutions.
cool because, and this is the thing I missed, of course. After this
Yeah.
move, the pawn is protected by the queen. Beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. So very, very similar to this idea, which was the hard part of the puzzle, was to find rook to f3. So the entire plan is just to play knight f6. And
That's so
I would
crazy.
say that this rook f3 is just not a typical idea. We don't think right away of this rook
Not at
just
all.
going away and going there, but there's just no defense against, no good defense against this knight
Yeah,
f6 idea, and then checkmate to follow.
that is
And in
so
this line, we
cool.
don't even give away the rook, so it's even better. In the
We,
game, they
yeah,
played
exactly.
bishop here. And what do you think is the final reply?
Well, we know it kind of already. We can take with the rook now.
Exactly, because the same idea
Yeah.
still works. That if black captures, then we go with the knight of 6 and a really beautiful mate. So
That is
in the
really
game, they
insane.
just black player just resigned with after this, and now there's even a threat of rook h3 as well. So there was no other defense. But I thought it was a really cool maneuver with this rook f3,
Uh-huh.
and just a really impressive attack by a really young player.
Very impressive. Okay, so it is Gurel. We have to keep an eye and an ear out for this one.
Right. And here's the next one.
Oh, we're black.
So this one, yeah, this one
Oh
is a
no.
bit more. This one is a bit more complicated, I would say. And this one was Pragnananda's game. Maybe some people have seen it already too, because it was quite a. I did see it a lot on like Twitter, and just
Uh-huh.
it was a nice sacrifice as well. So here it was black to play, and this one is the more complicated out of the puzzles. Because it included a lot of like successive moves. It wasn't just one tactic, it was just kind of a continuously like a couple, 3 or 4 only moves by Pragnananda that led to a winning position.
Wow.
So I decided to start it here, where it looks like black is not really doing too well, and
Yeah.
they're not too coordinated with the pieces, and the knight is currently being attacked that doesn't really have good squares to go. So what would you play here? How would you solve this issue with a knight?
Well, if I would be black in this position, I would probably give up. But let's
Well, no, it's a bit too early.
yeah, maybe it is. So there must be a better solution than giving up, maybe. Okay, so what is even our goal? I don't even see any kind of threat, except, of course, well, we have the bishop on h4 idea. How can we use this to our advantage? Okay, so there is now out of a sudden a couple of things which are, because of that, which are, yeah, puzzling together. So not only that, if we can get our pawn to e3 and our queen to f2, it would even be better, but that is also not an option yet. And
You're getting close to the right ideas, I would say.
yeah, I see how it might end, but I don't know how to get there yet. That's the thing. So that won't work, that won't work, that won't work. Nothing works. For you at home, did you see it? Did you watch it honestly?
So let's start with just the first move then.
Yeah, okay.
Of what to do with a knight.
Let's start with the knight. So, I mean, we do, So it's knight h4, is it?
It is knight h4.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that's better than bishop h4, because on bishop h4, we will have to trade this both of these two pieces, and white is actually going to be in a really good situation and probably even winning here. So we don't actually want to give up these two pieces yet. We could also, you said that you would give up, but at the very least you can play knight h8 and just play on, and this would be okay, would be equal, but definitely not what black wants for initiative. So knight h4 is pretty much the only other option left for black to
Yeah,
really
and
play for anything.
now I see them even more closely, the ideas. So
Yeah,
instead of taking back now, I think we give a check on g1.
yeah, so we distracted the rook from there to
That's
get there
it.
with the
Yeah.
queen.
That is evil.
And now, of course, if white goes to travel with the king, then we're just gonna play rook d8. But they can defend for a bit with this bishop f1 move. And now pretty sure there's only one move that keeps black's attack going, and it's not what you would expect with capturing the rook.
Oh, okay. That is fascinating. So when the no, that cannot be. No, that cannot be. So how to
What did you decline?
I completely no. It is just insane what I thought about. So
Oh,
I
I
thought
understand.
about bishop h3, but
Okay.
I don't even know
Yeah.
why. It's like
No,
doesn't
that one
make any
doesn't work.
sense.
But
Only if the
don't
pawn
decline
takes.
all of your ideas yet.
Okay. So let's keep on with the flow. I don't know it at the moment. So I thought about e3.
Yeah, that's actually it. That's why I was surprised you named it very, very early, even before we got here. But it is e3, so whoever found it, I think it's a really impressive move.
Don't see
And
it yet though.
but the reason why
Oh, I
is
see it
that
now.
this is the hardest part, because it's that one quiet move that just decides how the rest of the attack is gonna go.
I
You
see
see,
it now, yeah.
the idea is queen f2, so if we're ever allowed to do that, then we're going to win the rook for free without even giving away that bishop. So let's and if the rook spends time going away somewhere, then we can use this f2 square. So this is, to me, it's a really hard line, but it works, that we go to attack that f2 square a bit more, and even if the queens get traded, there's actually just going to be
Oh
checkmate
my
because so
god,
many of our pieces are
what?
joining. Yeah, we can even make quiet
No.
moves and just checkmate the king in the next couple of moves. And we only
Oh,
sacrifice the piece for it. So at the very least, we're going to gain back the piece and just win with,
that's
some rook
so
d1.
cool.
So this is a really cool line, but that's not what happened in the game. White defended in the best way, defended in the way of knight d1. So they attacked the e3 pawn even more and protected f2. So maybe I'll show just the next couple of moves of the game, because I think it's impossible to just be guessing all of them.
Okay.
And it was a really impressive attack by Pragnananda that we can just enjoy with the rest of it. But the main tactic was to find knight h4 and queen g1 and e3. That's the most difficult move. So the game continued with the rook e8, still not allowing white to really take on e3, because if they do, then we're going to make all these forcing moves and capture and actually either checkmate or just win material, surprisingly, but we could even win material there if they give up the rook, but if not, then there's checkmate. So that was just a sample line. It's pretty long, but I'm pretty sure he had to calculate all of that, and he did, because none of them decided to that taking on e3 was good, and that was accurate as well. So instead, the king went to e2, and of course, being in the center of the board, it got into trouble eventually. So all of black's pieces joined. I really love these attacks whenever it's really harmonious like that, and every piece is doing its job, and they're just slowly joining the game. And that's essentially how this game ended, is that there was just everybody just joined, and the king was never able to escape. Even here, there was a brief queen sacrifice with bishop takes h4, And the idea is that
Goodness, it's
pawn queen
mate.
here. Yeah, bishop g4 mate
I've
right away.
rarely seen a mate
Oh, I
like
love his cat.
this. This is so crazy.
Even your cat came to watch.
Did you see that mate, Newton? He thinks it's also insane.
And pretty much after a couple more moves, the queen had to give itself up, and black is up a queen, and just up is going to be up a lot of more material after that. So I'll stop this game here.
Yeah.
And
fascinating.
And that was also one of the most fascinating games of the World Cup so far. But I'm sure we're going to see a lot more as the tournament progresses. And it's been a really fun event so far.
Totally. Thank you so much for this, Svitlana. This was super entertaining. Yeah, let's see. What's your prediction? Do you have anyone in mind who might win, women and men? Or is it the normal
I'm
favorites?
not sure. In the women, I'm always rooting for the Ukrainian Muzyczuk sisters. So that would probably be mine, but I don't know who will actually win the men's section. I think it's always full of surprises and a lot of stronger players getting knocked out sometimes. So it's always full of surprises in both sections, actually.
Absolutely, yeah. So let's enjoy watching this. We enjoyed watching this already here with you. Svitlana Smart Moves will return soon. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye-bye.